If quantity words like some, most, or all trip you up on the LSAT, you're not alone. It's especially confusing that LSAT uses these words differently than we tend to use them in everyday conversation. The good news is that once you understand the precise way the LSAT is using these terms, it becomes one of the easiest parts of logical reasoning to interpret. Today, I'll walk you through how to understand and master these particular vocabulary words. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, on the LSAT, quantity words like some, most, none, and all show up everywhere across the logical reasoning section and even in the reading comp section as well. These terms are used to build premises, aka the evidence, they're used to frame the conclusion, and they're also used to test assumptions. If you misinterpret these terms, that can lead to major problems for you, but if you understand their logic and the range of numbers they're talking about, that'll help you spot flaws on the LSAT and strengthen arguments that you encounter. First, you've got to, the word most means more than half, meaning more than 50%, all the way up to and possibly including 100%. The word some, and this one's confusing, it means at least one, but it still includes the possibility of all. And of course, the word none means 0%, none, nada, zilch. So the words some and most are probably the most confusing. Again, just to recap it, the word most includes the possibility of all, and the word some also includes the possibility of all. This is how these vocabulary words differ from the way that we use them in everyday life. To give you an example, quote, most residents of Lakeview recycle regularly. Of course, you probably understand that this means more than half the residents recycle regularly, but it could be anywhere from 50.0001% all the way up to 100%. This does not exclude the possibility that every single resident recycles. You always want to think of the word most as a range, not a specific fixed concrete number. There are a range of possibilities. Again, you want to avoid that all too common mistake of misinterpreting the meaning of one of these quantity words. You don't want to add your own assumption to it. So the word some might mean a small amount, but all it actually means is at least one, possibly all, when it comes to LSAT logic. The word most we tend to interpret as meaning nearly all, but it could just mean as little as anything more than half. So to give you an example here, if we had an argument saying some of the attendees at the seminar asked questions, that could mean as few as a single person asked a question, or it could even mean that every single attendee of the seminar asked questions. Without having more context, you can't assume anything about how many people actually participated. Now, one additional confusing element of quantity words and interpreting them correctly is how to negate them. Of course, negating is especially important in LSAT logical reasoning necessary assumption questions, but it could factor into strengthening questions or weakening questions as well. Here's how to negate quantity words. You simply add the word not to the word. So all would become not all. And if the word all means 100%, not all could mean anywhere from 0 all the way up to 99.999%. So not all could mean 0, and it means anything less than 100%. The word most means more than half, and so not most means half or fewer. So not most, or the negation of most, includes the possibility of having exactly half, and it could include the possibility of having 0. If some means at least one, then not some means none or 0%. And if the word none means, of course, 0, then the negation of none would mean at least one, like the word some, all the way up to 100%. So here's an example for you. If the stimulus said most cats at the shelter were adopted, negated, this would mean half or fewer cats at the shelter were adopted. So a negation just flips the range while keeping the precision of the language intact. You always want to be very careful when you're negating because LSAC loves to test this, and it's a crucial skill for questions like necessary assumptions in LSAT logical reasoning. Now, LSAC, again, they love to exploit the ambiguity in the context of an argument. So again, the word most could include the possibility of all. The word some could include the possibility of all, but of course it does not have to. And the meaning is going to depend on the context, and how LSAT will exploit it also depends on the context. So if we have an example saying some employees at the company received raises this year, some might mean as few as one. It could mean as many as 500 if there are 500 employees at the company. We don't know. We need more information to understand the relation of this term in the context of the stimulus as a whole. And LSAC is, of course, going to test that ambiguity depending on the situation. If LSAC wanted to level up the difficulty of a question involving a quantity term in the stimulus, they might combine it with conditional statements to create traps for you. For example, if the stimulus said, quote, if most students in the class participate in discussions, the professor is satisfied. This tells us the professor will be satisfied if participation exceeds 50%. But it does not mean the professor will be dissatisfied if fewer than 50%, or even if exactly 50% participate, because there could be other ways to satisfy the professor. The LSAT is, again, as always, testing whether you can separate what the statement logically implies from what it does not say. Now let's talk a little bit more about what we can assume and what we cannot assume. If we have an argument saying, quote, some of the new policies have improved efficiency in the office, that just means at least one policy improved efficiency, but you cannot conclude from that exactly how many policies improved efficiency or which specific ones were effective at improving efficiency. Now, I'll share another example that's a bit tougher in just a moment, but before I do, I wanted to let you know that if you'd like my help with navigating quantity words like some, none, all, or most, or any others you might encounter on the LSAT, we cover more difficult topics like this at LSAT Unplugged, whether it's through our live online classes via Zoom, our on-demand video courses, our small group coaching program, or our one-on-one coaching programs personalized to you. We even create personalized day-by-day study plans for every single one of our students. If you're interested in finding out more about how we can support you on your journey to scoring a 170 or above on the LSAT whenever you're taking it, please check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, here's a tougher example. If we had an argument saying a majority of the city's residents supported the new tax proposal, let's walk through what this tells us. Majority, of course, means more than half, so 50.0001% of residents supported it, but it does not mean that all residents supported the proposal, although it does still include the possibility that every single resident supported the proposal. It also doesn't tell us anything about those who opposed the proposal or were neutral, or whether there were even any people with those characteristics. Now, if we negate that statement, again, the statement originally was a majority of the city's residents supported the new tax proposal, negated it would be half or fewer of the residents supported the new tax proposal. And so precision with ranges makes all the difference in how we interpret these statements and how we negate these statements. Now, again, if you found this video helpful, if you'd like my help with navigating quantity words on the LSAT, numbers, percentages, or anything else at all, my team and I would be glad to help you out on your journey to achieving a top LSAT score like 170 or above, because in my view, there's no reason to aim for anything less. Again, you can check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.